Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into some thoughts from Bradley Charbonneau, taken from one of his Meditation Monday recordings.
Right. Pretty raw stuff, just his thinking out loud.
Exactly. And it's fresh off a big trip and like a key moment of reflection for him. So what we're trying to do here really is figure out how to use this stuff. How do you take those big peak moments, what he calls Kyros time?
The expansive thinking time.
Yeah, and bring that back into, everyday life, the Kronos time, the clock ticking. And maybe even, how do you turn that feeling lots of us have, that desire for something more, into an actual plan?
It's a great source for that because it really captures that specific feeling, doesn't it? Coming back down to earth after something big and trying to, well, make it stick, make it actionable when you're back in the grind.
Totally. And the setting is important. He recorded this early Monday morning, just finished a meditation session that sounds like it was pretty significant.
And this was right after he got back from a whole month in Bali, Indonesia.
Yeah.
And Bali wasn't just like a random holiday. He says it was this huge dream, something he talked about for ages. So actually doing it, that must have felt massive.
He does say it was different than he pictured, which, happens a lot when you finally get to that big thing you've built up.
Sure, expectations versus reality.
But definitely valuable. You can feel the pride, the achievement, just in the fact that he did it, made the dream happen. That seems key.
Yeah, it underlines that sometimes the win isn't the perfect outcome. It's just pushing through and achieving something you aimed for. It shows you can.
So, okay, this meditation session, it kicked things off. He mentions the monkey mind, the brain chatter we all get.
Oh, yeah. The struggle is real.
He kind of jokes, like the only people with totally silent minds are maybe not conscious. Or monks, maybe.
Huh, right. He normalizes it, which is good. But his point isn't really about stopping the thoughts. It's more about using the meditation as a guide, like a path.
Exactly. Like if you focus on following the guided path, you don't have to worry about the external directions. So you can actually focus inwardly on whatever you need to focus on. One specific thing.
That's a neat way to think about it. He mentions using Insight Timer, following guides. Like Andrina's voice, he finds it soothing, even if he's not always tracking the words.
Yeah, so the guide provides the structure, like you're walking a path, and that frees up your mind to process your own stuff, not get lost in the weeds.
And apparently, that morning, it worked. Led to some real clarity for him. Not about emptiness, but about focused thinking.
Which brought him to this distinction he makes, which feels really central. Kronos time versus Kyros time.
Okay, let's unpack that. Kronos is...
That's just regular clock time, work, schedules, daily life. The tick-tock, predictable.
Got it. The structure. And Kyros.
That's the other kind. Dreamy time, big goals, that feeling you get on holiday or at a big event, maybe with other people, when you step outside the normal day-to-day and think bigger.
Okay. That subjective, maybe more meaningful time.
Right. So the big question he's wrestling with after a Kairos-heavy month in Bali is how do you come back to Kronos, back to the routine, without losing all that big picture stuff? How do you keep it alive?
Yeah, how do you integrate the inspiration? It's the classic problem. He uses that Monday morning quarterback idea, right? Looking back at the
Bali trip, the meditation.
Yeah, and reviewing it. What worked? What insights came up? How do I actually use this now?
And this part was really interesting. While he was in Bali, he was around all sorts of people. Teenagers, guys in their 20s, entrepreneurs in their 50s.
Digital nomads, regular tourists too, a real cross-section.
And despite all the differences, age, what they were doing there, he found this common denominator.
Which was?
This feeling almost universal of wanting something more, the next phase, the next thing. Not just existing, but moving towards something bigger.
That rings true. He talks about the conflict that creates, doesn't he?
Yeah, totally. Like your gut feels it, your heart is saying, yes, let's do this. But then the Kronos mind, the practical brain, jumps in.
And says, whoa, hold on, get real. You've got a job, responsibilities. What even is this something more you're talking about?
Exactly that voice. He mentioned digital nomads, too, people who are often actively seeking that something more by changing their lifestyle, moving abroad.
Right, seeking purpose. But often the desire is there, strong, but the actual plan for what that looks like, beyond just being somewhere else, it can be kind of fuzzy.
So this tension, big desire Everyday reality, fuzzy plan, it leads right into his own thing, his one project.
Okay. Which he says is still evolving.
Yeah, becoming more like a roadmap for the year ahead. He already had the one-word idea, like a North Star.
The main theme, the guiding light.
Right. But now what's coming through is the need for more practical stuff.
Right.
A roadmap, maybe a checklist, a proper plan, something like a business plan even, to make the word actually happen, not just feel good.
It's bridging the gap between the what and the how. Makes you think, doesn't it? For you listening, what's your guiding word, if you have one? And does it have a plan attached? Or what's that something more that keeps nudging you?
He also got really clear that making big things happen, bringing those Kairos insights into Kronos, it works better together.
Connection.
And ideally, he says, together in person. You can tell he's passionate about workshops, retreats, that kind of thing. Calls them one of his favorite things.
And it's not just about having a nice time together, is it? He wants a concrete outcome.
Yes, exactly. People leaving with something tangible, an achievement, a clear marker, and crucially, a plan that's better, more real than whatever they walked in with.
Which might be no plan at all for some people. So it's using that group energy, that dedicated time to get specific.
And that leads to the big aha moment, the huge breakthrough from the meditation. After chewing on Bali, Kyros, Kronos, the desire for more, the need for a plan, boom, clarity hit.
In the form of?
A calendar. Like actually visualizing a concrete calendar of potential in-person events based on his one project.
Moving from the abstract to the specific, he contrasts that with just having a post-it note saying someday on your calendar.
Oh, that someday note.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called it brutal. And it kind of is, isn't it? It's wishful thinking with no anchor.
Totally. But putting actual dates and places down, even potential ones, that changes everything.
It makes it feel possible. Real.
Yeah.
So he started mapping it out right there in his head.
Yeah, let's run through them. There was Las Vegas, early November 2025, something already booked, presentations.
Which then sparked Austin, Texas. Later that November. A weekend retreat, maybe, tied to helping his son move?
Then December 2025, maybe the San Francisco Bay Area. He lived there for ages, 17 years. Another potential retreat. Said he might flip-flop the dates with Austin.
Then into 2026, Mexico City in January, possibly. A weekend workshop, maybe second weekend.
And then February 2026, back home in the Netherlands. He kind of made a joke about the weather.
Yeah, the gray, dark, wet doldrums.
But framed the workshop as a way to deliberately break out of that February slump, which is clever.
He also threw in to be doing something in the Netherlands earlier, October 2025 as well.
And, importantly, Bali 2026. That goal from the Corona times, friends wanting to go, it's on the map, even if the exact timing, spring, summer, fall, isn't set.
He used that one to make a point about patience too, didn't he? Some goals take years, but you keep them on the radar.
Perseverance.
Yeah.
And there was Italy in spring 2026, possibly, depending on his wife's job.
So the power isn't just the list of cool places. It's the act of putting them on a timeline. For someone with lots of ideas like him, that calendar became the structure, the why and how and what all put together, as he put it.
Yeah, suddenly it's not just swirling ideas, it's a potential sequence.
He did mention someone suggested these retreats are great for New Year's resolutions.
The January effect.
But he pushed back, saying, look, I got this clarity in June. His point was, you don't have to wait for January 1st. You can have these breakthroughs, make these plans, refine your focus word, whenever the insight strikes, any time of year.
Seize the clarity when it comes. Don't wait for permission from the calendar.
Okay, so let's boil this down. What are the main takeaways from this deep dive for you, the listener, trying to juggle your own big dreams in daily life?
Well, first I'd say remember, meditation isn't necessarily about achieving Zen silence. It can be a really practical tool for focused thinking, for using structure to explore your stuff and find your clarity.
Good one. Second, those big experiences, the travel, the moments that shake you up your Kairos time, they offer gold. But you need a process like deliberate reflection, maybe journaling, maybe planning, to actually bring those insights into your Kronos life. Otherwise, they just evaporate.
Right, they become nice memories instead of fuel. Third, that feeling of wanting something more, that itch for purpose or the next step, you're definitely not alone. It seems like a really common human thing across the board.
And finally, turning that desire, which can feel pretty vague sometimes, into something real.
Yeah.
It often comes down to making a plan. Moving from I wish to here's step one. And maybe connecting with others, possibly in person, can give you that boost to actually do it.
Absolutely. That shift he talked about, from the someday note to a specific point on the calendar, that seems incredibly powerful. It makes the abstract concrete, the potential achievable.
If you want to hear more from Bradley Charbonneau, check out his Repossible podcast, YouTube, his Fast Friday emails. His whole thing is clarity, courage, confidence, knowing where to go, getting started, finishing. It fits perfectly. He even recorded some of this in a dark bathroom.
Uh-huh, really. Towels for soundproofing.
Yeah. Just to grab the idea while it was fresh, that's commitment to capturing clarity right when it hits.
Wow, that's acting on it immediately. Good example.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, thinking about focused reflection, bringing big insights home, that shared desire for more, and the power of putting things on a calendar. Here's something to chew on. How could you take one of your someday goals or maybe an insight you had recently, something from outside your normal routine, and actually put it on your calendar? Give it a date. What would that first step look like for your something more?